Welcome back to the Window Seat Podcast. I'm Blind from the Truth. Here are my co-host, LP. It's been a while since we've done a podcast, but hey, we're probably gonna start off like we didn't miss a beat. Straight Outta Compton is the talk of the town. It's about hip hop. It's about Compton saying, hey, we're tired of this police brutality. We're gonna make music about it. I haven't seen the movie yet. And there's yet with a question mark. I'm not sure if I want to see it for the reasons that go with the stereotypes of hip hop movies.
Yeah, I'm I'm right there with you. Maybe a little bit less because of the stereotype. I mean, that's still an issue with me, but I got some issues with casting the way that the women are portrayed in the film, things like that. So I'm on the fence too, as far as if they will be getting my money.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I want to do it because I'm a hip hop head and you want to support stuff that you believe in. You want to support the culture of hip hop. You want to support black movies with black casts, or African movies with African casts, depending on how you want to sway ethnicity, whatever. And you want it to do well, and you want them to do more of that. But if you're gonna do it, just like Boys in the Hood, if you're gonna do it, or Baby Boy, and it's gonna it's gonna not bring anything positive to the table. Some people can eat up the negativity and call it some type of positivity that they got from that. I don't believe that's possible. We were talking about Baby Boy, when was that? A while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we were saying that, yeah, it did talk about the struggle of young men trying to grow up and become a man and go out on their own, have the family if they choose to, but just basically getting away from up under their moms. And the mothers babying them to the fact that that's really difficult to do. But you took an interesting take on that coming from Yvette's side.
Right. And I don't quite remember what it was. Can you remind me?
Well, I think it was something to the effect of they told his story, but even though the title of it was Baby Boy, they told his story, but they didn't really get into Yvette or the mom story. What
Right.
what's really going on in their mind because they're affected by this too. Did Yvette have anybody to give her some good, solid, positive advice aside from the friend that was getting bent over the table?
Right.
Where was her aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, grandmas, moms, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing for AJ Johnson's character, where were her, it was just her and her son until Veen Raines came over there doing the monkey squat, beating them things up around that kitchen, but it was just her. I mean, what else is going on in their mind? Because they're affected by that too.
And it definitely was, and like you said, the film was called, Baby Boy or whatever you want to call Baby Girl, whatever. But I think it all plays a part. Like it's a coming of age story about a young man who's out here supposed to be making grown up decisions. Well, he's in grown up situations, but he's not able to make grown up decisions. And it's because he's being enabled by many of the women and men in his life. Same thing for his friend. But at the same time, I'm not blaming the women in his life because they're doing what they feel like they're supposed to do to help him and to guide him and or whatever. Because again, that male whatever that's supposed to be there is not there.
Right.
But as far as it coming from their perspective and things like that, I definitely would have liked to see what was going on in their heads. What is it within us, many of us, that says, I have to nurture and take care of this grown ass man. It is my job to baby this grown ass man. Like, what is it? And how come a lot of us don't see anything wrong with that?
Man, I wish I could tell you. I don't know, to transitioning that over to straight out of Compton. So people have heard the stories of Dr. Dre whooping on Michelle A. Are they going to put that in the story? Probably not. Should they? Maybe, for the simple fact that I was watching an interview. Dr. Dre was on Big Boy in the Morning. Dr. Dre was saying how they wanted to tell the story and they wanted to just really get it as accurate as possible. And yes, even though they did music degrading women, but they also wanted to show the side of how they really loved and cared about women. And I'm thinking, man, that is interesting because that's not portrayed in your music at all. I'm not saying that you can't make music saying bad things about women. I'm not saying you should, but if you personally say that you feel that way, go ahead and do it. Yes, it was early on in hip hop. Yes, the early 90s, late 80s. Yes. But, you talking about all this after the fact. And the people who grew up with you, I didn't grow up with NWA. That's something that my older brother would be more familiar with. I was a very late bloomer to hip hop, but coming up, care about women? Shoot, where? Mm-hmm. Where? Doing anything. Now, yes, you got to be aggressive. You don't want to be called soft out here because, hey, you're tired of the white man beating you down in your community. Hey, you just want to live. Whether it's you trying to peddle some dope, you trying to gang bang, whatever it is, you just trying to live. So all that being said, I want to give it my money because as a person that does music, I want to know the story. I want to support things like that. I want to support things like the religion of hip hop. Some people don't know that it's a religion. And that's the question you asked me about the other day.
And I think we're definitely going to get to hip hop and religion because that is, to me at least, a very mind-blowing conversation because I don't think that I see it the way you see it, but I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's eye-opening because I never would have thought of hip hop being a religion, but that's, me being naive or just, not knowing or whatever. But I don't know. This whole, it's definitely a part of their story. And I think we kind of touched on this when we talked about Nina Simone's documentary as well. It is a part of their story.
Yeah.
As far as, him being this freaking brutal individual when it came to slapping around women. That being said, I also look at it from, because I read an article with one of the women that he beat up on. Like,
it wasn't Michelle A?
It was not Michelle A. No.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. I thought that was the only woman. Okay, so he's a habitual offender.
He's a freaking abuser, a habitual abuser. So this is not an isolated incident between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. No, this lady. See if I can find her name real quick. Can't find her name. Last name Barnes. D Barnes. She was a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so apparently he beat her down. And I guess.
Do you have her information up for the people who don't know who D Barnes is?
I have this little snippet. D Barnes, the host of a well-known Fox show about hip hop called Pump It Up. This was in the early 90s. This lady here. And so apparently he didn't like something that she said on air about him. He made it physical. When they got into, close proximity or whatever. So he decided to make it physical. That being said, you just brought up his thing with Michelle A or whatever, where he beat her down. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, that's his personal life. And again, we have not seen this film, so we don't really know exactly how much it digs into their personal lives. Does it just focus on their music and, things like that or whatever? I don't know. I have not seen it. But from the victim's standpoint, she's saying that she would not have wanted to see herself being beat up on
of course.
Screen, of course.
Which, you know what? Which he might come out looking squeaky clean like T-Boz did in the TLC movie.
T-Boz and TLC, what happened with that?
She didn't really go in depth about her personal life. You got Chili's personal life, Left Eye personal life. Yeah. T-Boz, all thing you learned from T-Boz in the TLC movie was she was sick and she was in the
We
hospital.
already knew that.
Right.
But she
You
didn't
didn't.
talk about how Mac 10 smacked up on her either. Right.
Right. You know. So when you are alive and you're doing a autobiographical pick, then of course you're going to try to make sure that those little blemishes, and this is one of the words he used, he wanted to make sure there was not a blemish on the legacy. So you're going to make sure that the blemishes are very, very minute, if just not there at all.
See, this is difficult for me because part of me has an issue with that because of revenge, honestly. Like you don't get to say, well, he gets to say this because he produced the movie, but in reality, you don't get to just say, I don't want to talk about that anymore. I don't want to discuss the fact that I beat the shit out of women that piss me off. You don't get to do that. You don't get to be squeaky clean in this arena. And it bothers me that he gets that privilege. Yeah. I think that's my issue. Now, what does that have to do with the music? I don't know. I don't know. But, and again, that's why I said I think it's coming from a very hateful place. I'll put it like that.
Well, I mean, hey, I agree, man. I agree. But, we have talked about this time and time again, and we're going to continue to talk about it. What do we deem is okay to put in these biopics? With Nina Simone and her husband being physically abusive towards her, smacking her when she was holding her daughter. Well, their daughter, I'm sorry. But in the interview, he was talking like, that ain't my kid, I ain't really have, like, he has no emotional attachment to her at all. That and Ray Charles and his drug use, his heavy drug use and adultery. Is it okay to give that much information? Tina Turner, I think that was the first, no, I know that was the first biopic I've seen of a black celebrity, especially a black celebrity in the music industry. So, oh no, well, hold on. Did Jackson's American Dream come out before or after What's Love Got to Do with It?
I want to say before.
Okay, well, yeah. How Ike was hitting on her and everything. I mean, yes, tell your story. But do you want the people, I guess you want people to know exactly where you're coming from 100%. But that's okay if you're alive. Ray Charles was dead when they made this movie. Who knows what they added in, what they took out or whatever. But what's too much information is basically what I'm asking. When is it too much information about the person and their lifestyle? Is there such thing?
And see, that's what I was just about to say. I honestly, I don't think it's only too much when you don't publicize it. Like, if I was to go out to Walmart or Target, and I'm not even a celebrity, and I mean, you know that. The listeners may not know that I'm not a celebrity. But, if I was to go out to Walmart or Target and my husband and I got to fighting or whatever, and we were, I'm just going to say I was beating the shit out of him,
Right.
Can I really get mad at somebody for recording it, putting it online, talking about it, whatever? Not that they would, because I'm pretty much a nobody, but
no. You would get put on there. You would get put on there as a nobody, but you would get put on there.
Yeah, probably.
You'd be on freaking World Star Hip Hop, which has nothing to do with hip hop, and that bothers me so much.
I completely agree with that. Like, why are you using these words to describe this bullshit? Like, seriously, why? But anywho, do I have a right to privacy in that moment, in that situation? In my opinion, absolutely not. It's not right in any sense, don't get me wrong. But the fact of the matter is, I chose to do that publicly.
Right.
So the whole situation with Dre beating down this one lady in particular, the DJ or the host of the show or whatever, I take offense to him not owning up to it. Not saying that Michelle's situation is any different or any better or any worse, because he shouldn't be doing it. So the fact of the matter is he shouldn't be doing it. But when you decide to publicize what you're doing, you decide to publicize your wrongdoings and then just act like it didn't happen, and you get mad at folks for bringing it up and saying, no, you should say that. You should own up to that. You don't have that right. You don't have that right. You can't just create history the way you want it to be.
Well, that shows two different things. That shows that, a person that hits another person when they're upset has a lot of growing up to do. That also shows that he's clearly ashamed of what he does, but or what he did, and he's either trying to work through that, or he's like, "Hey, man, I'm ashamed of it. I'm embarrassed, but I want y'all to talk about it."
See, I don't see embarrassment. I really don't.
Really?
Like, if anything, you're not embarrassed because of your actions. You're embarrassed because you got caught and you know the shit is wrong.
That's that too. Yeah.
So you don't feel no remorse, because if you felt remorse, you wouldn't do it. And I don't think that, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I guess he's married now or whatever.
Yes,
and
I
can't
married.
say that he, hits his wife, and I wouldn't say that he hits his wife. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. It's very seldom that you find somebody who abuses one person and then don't abuse the next. That's all I'm gonna say. So I don't think it has anything to do with him being embarrassed. No, I think it goes to his abuser affect, in that I can do what I want to do. I can pick and choose what I include and what I don't include. I have that right. That's what I'm going to do because I run this.
Right.
And I know it sounds like I'm being real hard on Dr. Dre, and I am. So,
I mean, that's your right as an American citizen. That is your right as a woman. That is your right as a Black woman. That is your right as a person who grew up with hip hop. And I'm pretty sure that's your right as other things too, but those are only 4 things I can think of. That's okay, but since we're on the subject of men treating women a certain way, I want to say 2 things. The casting call for the movie, and I want to talk about that time I was at that bachelor party, and how men feel that they can treat strippers any kind of way. So, whichever one you want to start on first, the casting call.
What? No, let's start on this stripper thing.
Okay, well okay. So the stripper thing. I went to a bachelor party for a classmate of mine from high school, and there were some strippers there. So I'm well aware of the job of a typical Black stripper, urban stripper. I hear when you go to the white clubs, you can't touch them. I've never been. I don't have that kind of interest in going to those type of clubs, those type of gentleman bars, gentleman club, topless bars, whatever. Some people say I'm weird. A Black man that don't want to see no naked white women. I'm sorry for trying to, support the sisters, excuse me, whatever. But, you get to touch them. Our sisters, you get to touch them. They get naked. They dance. You throw money at them. Sometimes they want to do tricks. The thing that I already feel bad that, okay, I'm throwing money on you. I don't mind a naked woman dancing on me. Hey, I freaking love it. That's one of the perks of being a man, being an adult man. But it just kind of does something to me. It's like, man, after I throw this money on you, then it's time for this girl to come on. You crawling on the floor and you're scrounging up your money and everything. Like, man, like that's kind of, I think I would feel better if I could put it in something for you. You know what I'm saying? Just a respect factor of, I don't want you crawling on all fours like an animal picking up your scraps. That really bothers me. And the fact that dudes feel that they can do whatever, man. These dudes was pouring beer all on her, man, and trying to stick this up and that up. I'm thinking, come on, dude. She didn't say she was down with that. And I was talking to dudes at work. I'm like, man, she a stripper. She down with whatever we say she down with. She get butt naked for some money. I can do what I want to. I'm like, no, that's the wrong mentality. That's what gets you hurt. Because even though she's a stripper, I think her obligations are come entertain you while she's nude for money, dance, anything outside of that is very extra, and that's strictly up to her.
Right.
You know, you're not gonna be sticking all your fingers up in freaking beer bottles, and come on, man.
I'm in complete agreement with you. I don't like that either. And to think that people think it's okay really bothers me, because I think that it's degrading to the women who are dancing to have to crawl on the floor and pick up money and have money in weird places and stuff. You
Yeah.
know, I think that's an issue, because I mean, think about it. The same dude that's throwing money on the floor to her or pouring beer on her, if someone was to throw his paycheck on the floor, and as he bent down to pick it up, decided to, dump a cold one on his head, he'd have a
Uh-huh.
problem with that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
disrespectful. So how come it's okay to disrespect her just because of her profession? You know what I'm saying? She's working, that's her job. I think that speaks directly to how some men, many men, feel about women.
Yeah.
It's just that it can be on a very visible level when it comes to strippers.
Yeah.
And even I'm gonna just put it out there, even when it comes to prostitutes.
Right.
It's this idea that because you are doing a job that I deem as being less than or whatever, it automatically justifies me behaving this way towards you. Like you
Yeah.
don't deserve respect because you shaking ass for $1
Yeah.
or whatever. And that does not go hand in hand.
It
I can
doesn't.
go up to if he worked at McDonald's, hell, if he worked anywhere, I can go up to him and be like, hey, you don't deserve to wear that nice shirt. So let me go ahead and pull this shit on you because I don't like what you do for a living.
Right. And that would be the same if old buddy was a trash man or a custodian. Who respects those two people?
Right.
Not very many people. The kids at elementary schools be teasing them.
That's a shame. And that tells me that we're doing a very good job of raising up assholes.
You're right.
That's what we're doing. And then we wondering why they assholes when they get older.
Right.
Because you don't teach them to respect people when they're younger. You teach them that certain people are to be respected and others are not.
You're right.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves. When I see like a janitor or a custodian or whatever, like mopping the floor or sweeping the floor, and then somebody just comes and just like it ain't never happened.
Right.
Like that bothers me. It's so tiny. It's so tiny to someone else, but that bothers me. It really does, because how long does it take you to either wait or be like, oh my goodness, excuse me, can I get through here? You know what I'm saying? Something like that. That is, and it's something that I see a lot. But since we're talking about women in particular, yeah, fuck your friend.
Yeah, hey, I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way. I don't see very many women custodians.
Nope.
But anyway, but the casting call, real quick. Let me go exit out of here. The casting call for Straight Outta Compton, they had I'm a little foggy, but 4 different categories. You had A, B, C, D. The A category was,
I'm trying to pull it up as we talk, but basically it is your natural hair, lighter skin, exotic,
right,
type women,
right, because people automatically assume that the lighter you are and the more exotic, which usually means the lighter you are, and I guess however the lighter your eyes are, then that means that the straighter your hair is gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that's why they said natural hair for that one.
Right. Not the natural hair that on my head.
Right. The natural hair of someone who has naturally straight hair.
Right.
B was, I think it was B, where it was Beyonce would be the ideal picture. Yeah, prototype of, if you don't look anything similar to her, don't even worry about it.
Right. And it says you should be light. I found it. You should be light skinned. So what I find interesting is going back to the A girls real quick. Let me read that. These are the hottest of the hottest. First and foremost, models must have real hair, no extensions, very classy looking, great bodies. You can be black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Mid Eastern, or mixed race too.
Hmm.
So that's your A girl, the hottest of the hottest. I just want to the hottest of the hottest. Okay. Then we go down to your B girls. Okay. These are the fine girls. So you ain't the hottest, but you good, you good. Long natural hair, really nice body, small waist, nice hips. You should be light skinned. Beyonce is a prototype here.
Huh. Huh.
Yeah.
Man.
No mention of race. Um, but you get the idea when it comes to Beyonce. Beyonce's not very dark.
Right. Right.
And I think that in the past she may have claimed mixed race. I'm not sure.
Oh
Don't
no.
quote me on that.
Well, go back to A real quick. Where does African American / black come on the list of when they're naming ethnicities?
Black is first.
Oh, first? Okay.
You can be black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Mid Eastern, or mixed race too.
Man, I'm surprised black came first.
I am too. I really am.
I was expecting to be like third or fourth.
Well, like,
and I was expecting white to be first, and then Hispanic, and then maybe black or Asian. You know.
I would have actually expected mixed or Hispanic to be first, and then like some other type of exotic person, ethnicity or whatever. Okay, so going down to your C girls. These are African American girls right off the bat.
Ain't no question.
Nope, no questions whatsoever. Hispanic ladies, I'm gonna need y'all to see girl A, please. Please don't put the Hispanic girls on here with the C girls. So these are African American girls, medium to light skin with a weave. Make sure you don't bring any real hair shit in here, okay? We need you to have a weave. And that's it.
Man, medium or light skin, African American with a weave.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is
okay. But let's talk about the D girls real quick.
Yes.
Because out of this whole class system, this whole rating category, whatever type system, I have a problem with the whole thing. But the D girls really bother me. So these are African American girls. Again, right off the top, we're not wasting no time with this. Poor, not in good shape, medium to dark skin tone.
Hold on, what was the first thing you named?
African American.
Oh, I'm sorry. The second thing you named.
Poor.
Poor. Poor.
Yes, not in good shape.
Man.
Medium to dark character types. Now, I don't really know a lot about casting. I don't know about Hollywood calls to come in, audition and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'm taking this wrong when I think character types. What does that mean?
Character type?
Yeah.
I don't know. But with the little context that we have, I would assume that the character for dark-skinned African American women.
So are we saying stereotypes in a nice way?
I believe so. When you think of African American women, that's what's going to come to your mind straight off the bat.
It's trifling for a couple of reasons. A few reasons. One is that as you get further down the list, there is no question about race. So that automatically tells you kind of where their mindset is, where they coming from. Because you can be a poor, out of shape Hispanic lady.
You can
be a poor, out of shape with a weave white woman. I'm sorry, I think they're called extensions.
Oh.
So that kind of tells me, where they're coming from. And somebody could reason to argue and say they're in Compton. They have to have a makeup of what Compton is. And I don't know the demographics of Compton, but based on the little bit that I do know, it does seem to have a very high Hispanic and African American population.
Right. And I would say, since we have not seen this movie, we don't know how they organized this. But going off your other Black movies, we can already suggest how it was lined up.
Right.
Meaning, category D is what you're going to see when NWA is getting started in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess going to do shows, that's where C and B came in. And then when they made it, that's where A is. So you graduated.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Ain't that what happened in real life though?
Yes.
Can we talk about Kevin Hart? Okay, no, we won't do that. I have an issue with him, but we'll say that for another show on a different day.
This has been another interesting episode of the 106 podcast.